So, I have a question for you. Imagine that you are a video gamer, which you probably are, and then one of the best gaming experiences in not just the last year or the last 5 years or the last decade, but really in the last 25 years of gaming. Like one of those came about out of nowhere, really. Somewhere you didn't expect it to come from. Not the GTA 6, which you would sort of expect, not even like a first party game from either PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox, but a game that comes in and completely redefines the landscape from an unknown quantity. How would you convey that to your friends? How would you convey that to your listeners? How would you convey that to other people? Because it's hard to do. It is hard to convey that something so monumentous could have happened, sort of while everybody was expecting something that was just okay, right? And I'm talking about, of course, Clair Obscur uh, Expedition 33. Listen, I'm going to put it this way. Clair Obscur is one of the top five games of all time. It, I don't care about generations. I don't care about style or genre. One of the top five games of all time. I don't know who you're going to put as your cohort of top four. The other top four, maybe it's like a Metal Gear Solid, maybe it's a Mass Effect 2, maybe it's The Witcher 3, maybe it's a Cyberpunk 2077, maybe it's a classic title like a Mario 64 or like the original Donkey Kong. Maybe it's like Gran Turismo 3. I don't know what your other top four are going to be. I don't even know if it's going to be in your personal top five. But you play this game and everyone that tells you that it is in their top five, you will understand why. That's how impactful this game is. It's not game of the year. It's not game of the generation. It's beyond that. It is a cultural moment. It is one of these things that you will go back and you will tell your grandchildren about this game. Hopefully, you're going to tell them that you played it within like the first month or so, that you were there on ground zero as the universe discovered what this game is, because this game is mind blowing. It is mind blowing, this game. I wanted to do so many versions of this video. I wanted to compare this game to the trash ass game of Metaphor Fantasia. But really, my entire point there is that Clair Obscur is everything that people pretended that Metaphor Fantasia was and more. But then I decided not to do that video because it would literally be an embarrassment to Clair Obscur to be compared to such a trash title. People that told you that Metaphor Fantasio did not need good graphics because it delivered a great story. First of all, they lied. The story isn't great, but they are lying now because now they are praising this game for the great graphics. People that told you that Metaphor Fantasio had a great combat system, which really didn't change at all since the Persona series, they lied to you. Whereas Clair Obscur actually has an innovative combat system. I want to talk about this game. And part of me was like, okay, what if I rank it myself? What if I say, what does it climb over in terms of like, wow, the impact that it's had? And I realized that that too is it's a false dichotomy because it isn't a zero-sum game, okay? You can like more than one experience and you can love experiences for different things. But I'm telling you, this is a seminal moment in gaming. This is a pivotal moment. Please go play this game. If you are playing a game now, I want you to do something good to yourself. Put that game down and go play Clair Obscur Expedition 33. If you're not playing a game now because you're thinking to yourself, man, there hasn't been a game that I've really gotten into, do yourself the biggest surprise in like probably the last 5 years of your gaming life. Get this game sight unseen. I'm going to show you the game. I'm going to show you some of the game. I'm going to do my best to avoid spoilers, but there will be optional bosses that I show. But if you can even just pause this video now, stop it. I don't mind. Stop this video, buy the game, download it, and listen to nothing from anybody else. That is probably the best way that you will experience this game. I went into this game sight unseen. I didn't even look at the latest trailers because when I first saw the initial trailer, I was already in. I was like, done, easy, easy. Loved it from the beginning. I've done my best. Even now, I don't like hearing people talk about this game. It's funny. Whenever a person is talking about this game on the podcast, I just keep fast forward because I don't even want anyone else's opinion to tarnish how precious this game is to me now. But the funny thing is that when I have paid attention to what people are saying, they are saying pretty much the same thing as me. We are all blown away by this game. We are all no life in this game. I've spent 43 hours in this game before I got to the end. But just so you know, you can probably get to the end of the game or the end of the story about 30-ish hours. It is a huge game. And this includes if you did about 30 hours, I want to say 30 hours, you will be leaving out another 60 hours worth of content probably. Okay, now obviously it depends on this difficulty you are, how quickly you get through it, but this isn't a game you want to rush anyway. You want to play it continuously, but you don't want to rush yourself playing it. So I really do think that 30 hours to finish the game, the story anyway, the narrative of the game, fantastic. After that, it will allow you to reload the save just before the final mission, and you can go and complete every other objective that is in the world. Not my favorite way of doing kind of like post game things. I prefer it when the game actually accounts for the fact that you've completed the final mission and they find a way to bring you back into the world. Because of the way that this game narrative is set up, it doesn't work like that. But you can go and you can do all of the other areas before the final mission, which is not that new. But I've done about 43 hours in the game, right? I estimate that I have at least another 40 hours worth of content. That is not me repeating the same content. That is simply me completing all of the tasks that is there. Like that's how much content is in this game. There is easily 60 to 100 hours worth of content in this game, and all of it is fun. That's the thing. It never lets up. It never gets dull. It never gets boring. This game is seminal, and man, I just I don't know how to convey that to you. I don't know how to convince you of that. I want to say you have a situation where this game is made by a team of about 30 people, and then with outsourcing, I think they came out to just under 500. It was 450 or so people that are credited for making the game. It is made by a team that was previously unknown to us. In a place of the world that makes games, obviously France makes games, but we don't often see them. But I'm telling you guys, it's beyond exemplary. This game is going to change the turn-by-turn genre or turn-based games forever. Every turn-based game needs to copy elements of this combat system. And that's the thing. This game delivers on the graphics, it delivers on the narrative and the story, it delivers on the world and the lore behind it, it delivers on the gameplay systems, it delivers on the RPG elements. You want a min-max? I will show you examples of a min-max character. It delivers on that. You think of something. This game delivers on it. It's amazing. And the things that are within this game, it's either a 10 out of 10 or it's a 9 out of 10, or at worst, and I mean at worst, it is an 8 out of 10. That's it. That's the range. It goes from an 8 out of 10 experience to a 10 out of 10 experience. And I'm telling you, man, most of the time it's hitting red line. Most of the time it's comfortably sitting at 10. Most of the time it breaks through the speedometer and it just hits all the way beyond 10 out of 10 because this game is phenomenal. I'm going to show you the game now. Like I said, there are no major spoilers in what I'm going to show you because I did go through and try to curate a few things for you. But first I'm going to start with just screenshots. So you have a little bit of time while you can just appreciate the screenshots and look how beautiful this game is. Okay, so let's get started. So here we're going to go into Lightroom. Why not use it for something good? Let me just kind of set this up so that we don't have to take a look at everything else because yeah, there we go. And I think if I do this, no, if I do this, it's going to be better. So here we go. All right, so here is I mean, look at it. This is literally the first area. You see this bridge? This is where the tutorial will be. This is before the tutorial. Look how gorgeous this game is. We're going to go through this a little bit fast, okay? Because I really do have to show you, more than just one still photo. Sorry, my PC is deciding to, be a PC about it and kind of slow things down. So hopefully over here I can get it to match up with what I'm trying to show you. Okay, so here is, again, this is the beginning area, just going to show you this thing. Now, here's the one thing that I like. One major thing about this game, it has tremendously great cinematography. This thing is just the beginning kind of cutscene, and what you're going to see here is the paintress. And what I love about this game is how the cinematography evokes the feeling of the narrative. So if you're thinking to yourself, "Wow, Emmanuel, I cannot believe that this game delivers on so many things," just know that the cinematography is one of the games as well. Here is a gaming interface. This is, again, just a tutorial. Okay. So on the left hand side here, at the top left, you're going to see a timeline. Okay. And this timeline can be affected by your statistics. Basically, one of your statistics, or one of your stats, I should say, is speed, agility, they call it. So basically, the higher you are in that, the more often your character or that particular character will be on the timeline, and the more often they'll be able to take a turn. That's obviously important because the more turns you get in a turn-based game, the more damage you can deal in the fastest amount of time. Then over here on this right hand side, you're going to see for every character, they are going to have a different thing right here. And that's because every single character works in a slightly different way. Your starting character here in Gustav, the way that he works is that every time that you either deal damage, dodge, or parry, you build up a charge. And then eventually you can use a special move called overcharge to deal massive amounts of damage. So that's the way that it works here. Down here, you're going to see at the bottom right, you're going to see that this is your health bar. And then at the bottom of that, the blue bar is your action points. Different skills cost different action points, which you can regain action points by either doing a basic attack, by dodging or parrying on time or perfectly, okay, or through some other means like taking potions or whatever it is, right? So that's cool. And this is basically the interface of the entire game, right? You have items, you have skills, you have attack, and then you also have aim, which allows you to do a ranged attack. Typically, aiming is used for a specific thing that you're trying to set up, rather than the primary way that you will be fighting people all the time, because your guns, quote unquote, also use up your action points. So that's basically how that is limited. So it is a fantastic interface. It's simple to understand, very intuitive, and within 2 or 3 battles, you can fully get a grasp of it. The great thing as well is that this particular one is your training battle, and you can play this thing 5, 10, 20 times, as many times as you want, until you got a solid grasp of the combat system, and you can just replay it over and over and over again. There's no penalty to lose in this particular battle. But let's move forward, right? This here is your first starting area, Another thing is that you will notice that your character here is bloody, which I absolutely love, right? Like, this is not a happy-go-lucky game. There's a lot of there's a lot of conflict, let's just call it. And your characters do reflect that, both physically and psychologically as well. So you're going to see that being reflected in the game, So you're going to see them covered in blood all of the time. What I love about this game is that the entire sky points you towards your objective, right? Like, you see there, every single time, almost no matter where you are in the world, there's this number emblazoned in the sky, the 33, reminding you of what it is that you're fighting for. I just thought that is such a powerful moment. Like, it's domineering over you. You can just imagine being in this world and always seeing that number, pretty much no matter where you are. It is always this slowly ticking hourglass that is eventually going to change, and you learn the consequences of that, and you have to live with the consequences of that. One of the great things about this game is that they hook you right away into the narrative, the story, and the motivation as to why you are doing what you're doing. Because when this number turns over, bad things happen, and there's a great reason for you. There's great motivation for you to go ahead and stop it from ever ticking over again, right? This here is your overworld map. This is literally your world map, right? So over here, you see how beautiful this game is. So the way that this game works is that it's a little bit like the TARDIS. I mean, you guys have seen world maps before in RPGs, but for those who haven't, if you go into a particular area, that area basically expands. So the world map is a stylistic representation of the world itself, but it's not something like a Horizon Zero Dawn where everything is one-to-one, basically. So it's great. It's fantastic. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is the fashion and the character design. Because when you take a look at Maya, which is by the way, Maya is my favorite character in this game, and you see so this up close, you see the facial kind of what would you call those? The visual fidelity on the faces and on the characters, the designs, the weapons, the actual fashion of the place. It has a distinctive fashion, has a distinctive art style. It is obviously inspired by like French, kind of like period era fashion, but it is its own unique thing, and it just looks so cool, right? We're going to also see it as my second favorite character over here. She's a bit in shadow right now. But yeah, they look great. Like you play this game and look how badass you look. You just look badass. This is something, the art design in this game is so phenomenal. But even the way your characters look, they just look impressive. They look like characters you want to embody. This is the one thing that Concord got so wrong. Concord did not have good looking characters. And I always say to people, it's not that Concord didn't have sexy looking characters, you know? It's that they didn't look cool. They did not look cool. Look at this art design. She's fully covered up, and there's hardly ever any situation where you're going to see any bits and pieces unless you specifically choose the skin that shows that. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that she looks cool, and all your characters look cool, regardless of how much skin they are showing. They just look amazing. This fashion, this uniform looks amazing. It's just, man, it's a great game, so this is it in the world map. When you're doing the world map, here you are again, and you just see that number, that obelisk they call it, always in the distance, just domineering over the entire landscape. You always feel your attention drawn to that. You feel pulled by it. You feel like, damn, this is in the center of the world and I want to go there. And if you guys notice, over here I'm further along in the game, and you can see that I'm getting closer and closer to that number, right? Another thing is that you have enemies of all shapes and sizes. There are actually like God of War sized enemies in this game. Like, yo, this game it's got so many surprises in store for you. But this one here is kind of a more typical kind of Elden Ring looking boss with the forearms and the sword that is blazing to be burning from within. And I mean, it's just look at this enemy. Look at the design. Look how majestic, this enemy looks. It's fantastic. Another one here is again a close up of the character's face. And again, this one over here is a really big moment that happens in the game. And you see that your characters, they show it in their faces. It's not something where you have to feel in, or you have to use your imagination. They show it in their faces what it is that they are going through. Here we are again with, like I said, my second favorite character over here in Lune, meaning moon in French. But yeah, Moon over here looks amazing. I mean, she's just freaking incredible, right? Here we are again. You see here that number, the way it just lights up the sky. I absolutely love it. And then finally, I'm going to show you these two pictures. So this here is when we are right next to, we finally made it very close, right? And you see this number is still like so dominant, but now you feel like you're right there. You feel like your objective is right there. And it's been such a long journey. This is like a 24-hour journey just to get here. And it's fantastic, right? And then finally, the very last image I'm going to show you is kind of this image, which is a completely optional area. And even then, there was no art budget was spared. It looks fantastic. This looks reminded me so much more of like a Ghost of Tsushima, where you got these leaves and they're falling and they're swaying in the wind, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Now, those are the screenshots, and obviously the screenshots can only do it a little bit of justice, because at the end of the day, the game is meant to be played, and the game is a video game, so video is usually the best way for us to convey some of those things. Now, I'm going to start playing videos here, but the thing is, I don't think I set my volume right. So it might be a little bit loud at the beginning. But, hopefully we're going to see a few things that are cool. Now, which video am I going to start with? Let's start with this one. Yeah, sure. Let's start with this one. Okay. Yeah, let me just reduce the volume. Okay, so now if we start here, I'm going to actually take myself off of the screen because I realized that my thing was covering before. Okay, so just a quick little thing. Down here at the bottom right, this is your character. Then you have the health bar, then you have the action points. I think my camera was covering up that bit before. Okay, so here, this is an arena, actually. Let's set the volume to 70%. Okay, and we're just going up against an enemy over here, Dominic Giant Feet. And we're just going to kind of play through this and hopefully see how a battle plays. And I will try to narrate over it a little bit. Okay, so this is the aiming mechanic that you basically get. Obviously, not every character has a gun, but it's a fantasy world, you know, so she uses her magic powers or whatever. Okay, so over here you can see Mael, instead of having that arm where you overcharge, she has stances. And what I love about the stances is that they affect basically how you deal and how you receive damage. Okay, this here is a counter. The way to perform a counter is to perform a perfect parry, basically. So you have to press R1 in this case just before you're about to be hit. Even though I will say that the parry window in this game is a little bit later than you would assume. So it's not so much just before you're about to be hit. It's almost like 2 frames into you being hit. It's a little bit delayed in order to get the perfect parries right. But eventually you get the tempo because it's very consistent across different enemies. But you're going to see, and the reason that I have this particular battle first is because this guy pretty much only has one move. And I thought that this would be the perfect one to start with. As you can see that they also have some quick time events happening there. And the way that I like to think about this game is if you think about Final Fantasy VII, the remake, right? They changed the combat system to be a bunch of basic attacks that you do in the world while you're controlling your character. And then you kind of use the action points to slow down the game and basically choose your turn-by-turn skill. I like to think of Clair Obscur as the opposite of that. The game slows down unless you choose your attacks as you would in a normal turn-by-turn game. But then as soon as you do that, every element of it is live and happening. All of these counters are happening because I am pressing the button at the same time, at the right time, you know. It's not because there's some kind of passive skill that is happening on its own. There's no auto parry skill, you know. And look at the animation. This is the one thing that, again, I look at Metaphor with Fantasio and I'm like, why are we still pretending that characters cannot fully attack each other on screen? They are doing these things where they move an arm and then your character gets hit. One of the biggest things that is different about this game is that there is no roll of the dice. Normally in games like this, in order to stop you from using your most powerful skills all of the time, beyond just having a certain cost to each skill, what they will do is that they will give you a chance of hitting. So, you know, like, yes, you have a powerful skill, but maybe it only has like a 30% chance of actually hitting. In this game, that is not taken into account at all. There's no roll of the dice. You can go up against the highest level enemy in this game from like level 10 or something, and you never have to be hit. You can perfectly parry pretty much everything all of the time, no matter what. Now, there's some exceptions to that will go into spoiler territory, so I'm not going to do that. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is that it's always up to you. You never feel like, oh, you got a bad roll of the dice, or there was some passive skill that had a 1 in 4 chance of happening. And basically you feel shortchanged because the game decided that, oh, instead this time your skill wouldn't activate it when you wanted it to be. You know, a little bit like XCOM. XCOM, when you take a shot in XCOM, you always have like a 99% chance of hitting, or an 80% chance of hitting, or 75% chance of hitting. And that depends on your positioning relative to the enemy, relative to your gun, relative to your character skills. That's cool, and it works in XCOM. But here's the thing, it's you can have a 99% chance of hitting an enemy in XCOM that is standing right in front of you, and the game just decides that you miss. You miss the shot. And that could literally like fuck up your entire mission. In this game, you will never have to suffer that. There is no die to be rolled, okay? None of it. So, one of the things about that last battle, if you're paying attention to the video, is that you might start thinking that, oh, all of the attacks are like super predictable and, you know, you're always going to essentially know what the enemy is going to do. So I wanted to just show you a few more attacks that are going to be a little bit more dynamic. So let's see. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Okay. So if we come back to the screen, and we're just gonna restart this video. So this here is a high level area. And at the moment, I believe I'm a little bit underpowered for this area. And I'm taking on enemies that I was not supposed to take on. The game doesn't really give you a lot of indications that you're not supposed to go in an area right now. But if you try to go in an area and you see a danger waiting underneath it, it means that you're severely underleveled. So, but you're going to see that even though these guys can all kill me in one shot, basically, I can stand up against them because I control everything that happens to me. You never have to be hit. As well as parry, you have a dodge mechanic. The good thing about dodge is that dodging gives you a more tolerant window to dodge perfectly, right? Whereas parry requires you to be more precise, you know. But when you parry, what you get as a bonus is that you do way more damage when you parry than when you even attack things, especially if you're on the level like I am right now. So, in order to win this fight, I can't just rely on these skills that I'm putting up in the bar and everything. You're going to see that the numbers that they do is not as high as the numbers that are actually that I can actually do if I do the perfect parry every single time. So obviously this is after a few like I want to say at least an hour or two of me playing in this area and learning the timing window of all of these people. But you see that the reward for that is tremendous. You know, I can just stand up against them and I'm using just one character. Now, you might be wondering why I'm using just one character. There are multiple characters, of course, but the thing about using the one character is that I realized I could min-max Mael over here to actually do just a lot more damage and work better for my playstyle if she was just going in by herself. If she happens to die, the reserve characters, the other characters I'm not using, will give me a chance to basically redeem myself and continue the battle from where Mael is. So there's no penalty for that. But then if those characters die again, then there will be no reviving it and you have to start the battle over basically or leave the area. But you can also see the game in motion. You see the animations, you see how beautiful the environment is, you see the combat arena. You also see that these enemies over here, they have a few set moves that are not the most diverse enemies you're going to find in the game. But again, this is just basically it's an optional area. It's not the place that you're even meant to go to at this point, you know. So I learned the pattern and I was able to do what I need to do. I want to show a few more areas that are going to show us what we're talking about. So over here, I want to just talk very quickly. This is how you basically min-max your character, okay? Don't look at the other characters at the top because some of those are slightly spoilery. But over here, your pictos, this is basically your passive skills, okay? Now, you have to slot them into these slots called luminous, okay? Actually, no, you have to, your pictos, think of them as artifacts, okay? That's better. Think of them as artifacts and you got 3 slots, okay, for your particular artifact. Fantastic. Now, here's the thing. When you first receive an artifact, this little golden outline here is going to be completely grayed out. But if you win 4 battles with that artifact equipped, you would then be able to take care of you would then be able to benefit from the passive element of that artifact with any character. Here's what that means. If you take a look at Second Chance has an active component, which is health and critical rate will go up by 1100 and 8% respectively. It also is rated as level 16 right now. Then beneath that, it has the passive component, and the passive component will give you the chance to revive with 100% health once per battle. Now, you only have 3 artifact slots, but with Luminous, which is all of these passives, yeah, you can benefit from the passive of that, even if you don't have that artifact equipped. So basically, think about your artifacts as being the biggest thing that changes your combat stats, okay? So for example, 1100 of my health right now is given by this artifact because I have it equipped. But if I didn't have it equipped, I could still benefit from the reviving with 100% health, okay? But I wouldn't get the 8% critical rate or the extra health that this artifact gives me because it's not equipped. So what you have to do is that you pick your 3 most important things, I suppose, or the things that give you the stats that you want the most. And then with the passives, you change your luminous around, which is down here, and you only get the passive benefits from that particular artifact. Okay, it's not in the game they call them pictos, and Luminous, I like to think of them as artifacts and passive bonuses, basically. So the way that I've created this character, Mael, right now, I've min-maxed her so that she is really, really good on her own, because there are many artifacts that give you a bonus if you're basically in a last stand mode, which means that everybody else in your team is died or you haven't brought them into the fight and the person is fighting solo. So what I've decided is that I like the way that she switches stances, because Mael has 4 stances. She has no stances, which basically doesn't do anything. She has a defensive stance, which means that she receives half the damage of that the enemy will get. And she also, as a bonus, gets more active points if she parries perfectly. She has an offensive stance, which would deal 100% more damage, but also, no, it would deal 50% more damage, but she will also receive 50% more damage. That's offensive stance. And then she has Virtuoso. And Virtuoso will basically deal 200% more damage without you receiving any extra damage in return. So basically, you realize that with her, you pretty much always want to be in Virtuoso stance. And there's limits to that. There's ways that you have to play around that. But I realized very quickly that I love the way that her combat system flowed the most. And that if I loaded her up to be basically super, super good on her own with a bunch of artifacts, I could, for example, put second chance with her, so that if I take her by herself in a high level fight and she dies, there will be no other character to revive her, but then this artifact can revive her for me. So we're going to see me play around with a few of these things for now and kind of try to min-max her quite a bit. These are the luminous or the passive things. They have a cost associated with them, so you can't just load up every single thing at once, obviously. But basically, you pick and choose how this person is going to play. So right now, for example, I have the Glass Cannon Lumina, which means that she's going to do 25% more damage passively, but she also receives 25% more damage. So it's fantastic because you can go between what is most important to you in terms of Pictos and Luminous in order to maximize or min-max your character in a true RPG fashion, okay? Now, very soon, we're going to start an actual battle, okay? But this is what the menu looks like. Those are the other extra characters. And we're going to see, essentially, these are high-end, These are high-level enemies in a high-level optional area. And they are way over level compared to me. But like I said, I've pretty much just min-maxed her to be like really brutal. And you're going to see that quite often performing that perfect parry so that you get the counter attack is always the best strategy. This is why this game is so reliant on parry. If you play this game and you just use dodge, I think you're going to just find yourself just playing the game for longer, I suppose. But yeah, you want to really get the parry down. Like I said though, the dodging window is more generous than the parry window. So when you come up to a new enemy, learning to dodge quite a few times is better, so that you learn the attack pattern and then you can learn how to parry it and get the timing right within the same battle. You don't have to die or play it a million times in order to learn. So dodge first, learn the attack pattern, then start to get your parry down, and you're going to find that it's really awesome. So we're going to see to the end of this battle over here with these enemies. Man, all the animations look amazing. The way that she moves, I just love this character. Yeah, that time I think I got it wrong. Yeah. Now you can also have negative statuses applying to you. For example, right now I am bound, which means that I can't dodge, which for this battle doesn't really matter to me because I don't plan on dodging anyway. I plan on getting the parry right. So thankfully, I don't think that there is a negative status effect that says that you can't parry. Okay, so there we go. There is my beautiful Mael. No damage taken there because even though I missed one, I had the shield, which was another passive bonus that I had. So it absorbed one hit for me. Okay. Another one that I want to show you is this one. Now, this one here is a much higher level enemy. And we're just starting the battle now. And this time, this guy is so high level that I decided that Mael couldn't do it by herself. And what you're going to see here is just a whole bunch of like different attack combinations. Just so you know, like full disclosure, I died to this guy multiple times, obviously, learning his pattern and everything like that. So what you're going to see here, even though it looks easy, I can assure you the first time that you go up there, you're not going to find it as easy as this might look on video. And I'm still not going to do this perfectly. I'm pretty sure that I still get hit a lot because, yeah, he just has a lot of things that he can do. And sometimes the parry window changes slightly between moves. So yes, you might know the attack pattern, but you may not know where the parry window is at every single one of those levels. So I think that you can see that I missed that one quite badly. And when you miss a parry, you get punished severely. You're going to see that my health bar over here gets severely depleted whenever I miss. So it's definitely high risk, high reward. But again, there's no dice for you to be there's no dice, there's nothing for you to be kind of like saying, oh, the game cheated me out of something. No. You're going to see that every single time it's your thing. Another good thing is that you can see here that I only have two characters on screen, right? Like I mentioned before, the rest of your characters are what is called the reserve team. If these two die, instead of ending the fight or starting over, I can actually just bring in the reserve team and I can continue the fight with just them. And they still have full access to reviving each other and everything like that. So it's great because you can choose. There's basically 5 characters in the game that you can have at once, and you're going to be able to choose, do I send just 2 in, do I send just 1 in, or do I send 3 in and then have your reserve team be smaller? Me, I decided that my first team will be 1 or 2 people, and then my reserve team will be the larger team, because I would rather just learn with 1 or 2 people and then bear the consequences of that loss, and then have 3 people as a backup in order to actually, give myself a higher chance of finishing the fight in good standing. Obviously, most people I think are going to choose the opposite. They're going to go with 3 people because that gives you more chances and more damage at front. But yeah, I just made a different decision. And that also means that I kind of built up my characters to be different. There's character synergies across the board. So for example, right now you can see that Goblin has some burn status, which is at level 10 there. He just gained some shields. And obviously you can create your characters so that each character helps each other's skills, so each character doesn't have to play solo. Even if they're in a team, they can work off of each other, so you can have different status effects that you can apply to the enemies. And you can see that those status effects are going to help each character do more and more damage as you cycle through them. So as you build your team composition, which is what I'm trying to say, you definitely will have the ability to be like, okay, well, this character has a skill that does extra damage if an enemy is on fire. But I don't want to always just use that character to set up that fire. So instead, like Mass Effect, I'm going to kind of set up a primer, and then the other character will kind of be the person that detonates their ability fully. And you see there that I lost a character, but the thing is, I just feel super comfortable with Mael because, again, she has a whole bunch of things that are there to basically make her really, really good fighting by herself. There I found a break in the combat to be able to actually revive my other character. So, yeah. Now, over here, with this character here, you're going to see that the way that he works is that he's got these ranks. So right now he's at D rank, and he goes all the way to S rank. The higher your rank is, the more damage he will do, and I think maybe the less damage he will receive. But basically, you want to move him up from D all the way to S rank, and that's basically the way that he works. So yeah, that's fantastic. So every single character works differently. He doesn't have the stances that Mael does. So if you might think to yourself, like, the thing with Mael is that if you're an offensive stance, you do more damage, but you receive more damage. So that might actually penalize you in case you don't really know the pattern of the enemy and you're just there taking extra damage for basically nothing. So you might decide not to play as Mael all the time, which would be such a mistake because Mael is freaking amazing. So there we go. I love this game, guys. I could talk about this game all day, but really I want to be playing this game more because it's just like, it is incredible. Even looking at this video right now, I'm noticing things I didn't see before. By the way, just bring your attention back to the top left. You're going to see the order there. So right now, I have Mael, then I have the monster Goblu, then I have the other character, the man, then I have Goblu again, then Mael, then Goblu, then Goblu. So you can also start planning your obviously your turns based on what the timeline is going to be, you know. And if a character dies, obviously they will be taken off the timeline, you know. So let's move this a little bit forward. I don't know why there was such a massive pause. But yeah. I think I'll be able to kill this guy with just these two characters. But, you know, I haven't seen this video ever since I shot it. So who knows if I get it right. Now, as far as I know, there's no item in the game that actually increases your parry window. I think it would be cool to have such a thing, but obviously it would just cost a lot because parry is such a strong mechanic that if you were to increase and make that more generous, you would definitely make the game a lot easier, you know. So is there. I also right now I also have some passive abilities that allow me to get extra health back in case I perform a perfect parry or a counter. So there we go. You see now that with Mael, I am stanceless, and with the other character, I'm at S rank. So down here at the bottom, you always see which stance you're in, or what part of that character's special affinity where you are with that. So right now, I'm at S rank with this guy. So if I get this right, it's going to be a really huge hit, you know, except he's got shields. And the shields absorb the entirety of the hit. This is a good time when you use your aiming mechanic in order to destroy those shields, which is the best way to use that. Okay, you see there, I completely messed that up. But I don't know, there's just something psychological about using Mael. I vibe with her so much that I just get my counters and my parries so much better when I'm using her compared to any other character. Maybe it's because she's like smaller and it allows me to see kind of like where the enemy's attacks are going to land. But I'm telling you, psychological. Let's see. I wanted to show you just a little bit of the humor in the game as well.
Jeez, lupa que mamá parino.
No. It's the password.
Pico femicola, gor granda bare bombi no passwordito. Gomiku rapito sava.
Look, I am very sorry. It's just that Golgra told us that's the password, and
Come on, it's a gestural. He'll have forgotten in about a minute.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, over here, this is going to be the final combat segment that we're going to take a look at. And the reason I want to take a look at this is just because I want to show that there's a lot more... there's a lot more that enemies can do. Not every single pattern from enemies is going to be predictable. Now, there's some really insane enemies that have like 7 to... I think there's one with a 10 hit combo that I fought. And that one obviously takes a lot to memorize everything that you're going to be doing and everything you're going to be suffering through in order to beat that particular enemy. But yeah, it's just one of those things where the more you learn, the more you'll be able to do good things. So obviously these guys over here, they're going to just get effed up because I'm still learning the pattern. And I'm trying to get that perfect parry, you know, because really these guys have such a huge amount of health that I need to be able to parry them in order to just get through the fight. Otherwise, eventually I'm going to keep messing up and they're just going to basically out damage me, you know. Yeah, she's gone. Yeah, so he's gone. And now this shows you the death mechanic. You can choose to send your reserve team. And at this point, Mael is my reserve. Okay. So at this point, this is much earlier in the game. And I still had her, instead of her going in first, I had her go in last, you know. So I will learn the pattern with the other ones. And once I learned it, I will send her with everything suited up so that she can just do the most amount of damage, you know. And you're going to see here that even though she's one person, I can actually just get a lot of things done with her, you know, once I've learned the pattern. Yo, that animation quality is crisp. I love this shit. I love the fact that enemies actually move and actually hit your character, not something from across the room. Like, Jesus Christ. I feel like turn-based games have been stuck kind of like on their own for so long that nobody ever asks like, hey, why isn't this thing better? And then this game just comes out and it's obviously inspired by the Final Fantasies and some of the best games in the world that have ever been in the turn-based genre. But it just does everything so much better than they ever did. And it's so fantastic to see, guys. Like, it's just, I can't stop talking about this game. I just, part of me just wants to like shut up and let you enjoy the combat, but I feel like, nah, you should go to a live stream if you want to see that. Or better yet, you should play this game. By the way, the music is amazing. You know, this game, I finished it. It's stuck in my head rent free. I can't stop talking about it. I'm telling non-gamers about it. The music, I play it in my car. I just, dude, I can't, I hear the beats and I'm just like, yo, this game is, it's so tremendous. It's so tremendously good, you know? So yeah, you're going to see here that I'm pretty sure that if I recorded this is because I actually won the fight. That would be so embarrassing if I if I hadn't won the fight. Um, but yeah, apparently I decided to be a coward and heal up. You know, we're going to see if I'm gonna get attacked again because I don't even think I got attacked again. I should have just been a cool guy and ended up with like 1 HP. You know, I should have just done that. It's funny, right? Because you go into offensive stance and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, can I do that?" And obviously, I missed out. So I guess it's a good time I took the health because offensive stance that made him do more damage to me. So then I had to heal up again. Thankfully, now I'm stanceless, which means that if I get hit, at least I won't take the extra damage. But I also don't get to do as much damage here. But that was all that was necessary. Okay, there you go. You can see by how much I'm leveling there that I was definitely on the level for that fight. But that's what I like. I like the fact that you can take the fight to people that are way higher level than you, and you are not penalized for it because you have to get your game right. And if you get it right, you're not going to see or you're not going to feel the penalty of that as strongly. I had a few other videos that I had over here, but I feel like everything else is probably going to be spoilers. So let's see. Yeah. Oh, I guess just one more for fun. Okay. So this here is an optional boss, and this is much later in the game when I have decided to basically min-max Mael as much as possible. So I just want you to remember that this is technically a boss, and I'm a little bit over leveled to be honest for this. But she comes in here, and this is what she does to them, right? Boom, one shot. Oh man, I laughed when I did that. I laughed when I did. I was like, yo, I can't believe I got her to that stage where she can do that much damage. So I don't know if I succeeded. I don't know if I've been able to elaborate or entice people into giving this game a go. I hope that I have. I fully, man, I'm telling you, man, do yourself a favor. If you love yourself, buy this game and play it tonight. If you like yourself, buy this game and play it tonight. You learn to love yourself. If you hate yourself, buy this game and play it tonight because while you are playing it, you will like yourself a lot more. While you're playing this game, man, it's I haven't shown you anything of the narrative or anything of the story because I truly believe that you need to just go in blind for that. I don't even want to talk to you about the themes that it tackles and everything like that because I don't want to prime you for anything. I just want you to go and experience this game. This is one of those games. This sits next to me with those experiences that I walked into blind because believe it or not, despite a lot of my presence on social media or whatever, I super enjoy going in blind or as blind as possible. It reminds me of Mass Effect 2, where my friend was like, hey, here's Mass Effect 2, play this game. Didn't say nothing about it. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like I was just like, what did you do? Or the first time I played Infamous, that was also one of those experiences. I just went in blind. Horizon for Zero Dawn, I just went in blind. God of War 2018, I went in blind. It's one of these things where you're just like, yo, trust the people that are telling you that this game is it. Now, when it comes to the Game of the Year discussion, will this game get Game of the Year? It's certainly going to get a nomination, right? But will it win Game of the Year? Is it unbeatable? I don't know. I feel like these games, this quality of a game, it transcends the discussion of the moment. Game of the Year is too short term. I feel like in many ways this game might not win Game of the Year, but when people look back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're going to keep coming back to this game. Like people do for like what's another game that even though I didn't play it, I know people go back to that. Like Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, not just Breath of the Wild, but like Wind Waker, I think it's called, and a Majora's Mask or something. Like people just go to these titles and they become classic, they become part of the culture. This is one of those titles. Don't miss this. Don't let this one go. Don't play this in a year. Play it tonight. Do yourself a favor. You will be so glad because eventually this game is so excellent. It is so good. It is so like above and beyond what you could possibly imagine that unfortunately you're going to get spoilers. Unfortunately, eventually you're going to see more of it. You're going to feel oversaturated by it. Before that happens, play this game. Experience it like fresh when it's nice. Experience it before the thought essays come out telling you that it's not as good as it is. Like experience it before people start nitpicking elements that are not as great as because of course it's not perfect. It's not a perfect game, right? It's a 10 out of 10 because again, there will be no point in creating a scale to judge human works if you required perfection, which cannot be acquired by humans in order to make that scale worth it. Like it is a 10 out of 10 game, but 10 out of 10 does not mean perfect. So play it now before people start making it about perfection. Play it now before people start making it about this auxiliary thing here or there or there. Play now while it is still innocent, while it's still pure. Play now before it has a sequel. And you feel like it's just a rehash of the same thing. Man, I love this game. I love this game. This game has, for me, rekindled my love of gaming. It's one of these games that I feel like it justifies the entire console purchase price by itself. If I had bought a PS5 just for this game, played this one game and packed it up in a box and never touched it again, it would have been worth the money. I'm telling you, this game is, I don't know, it's transformational. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how else to urge you to go and give this game a go. But not just give it a go in like 3 weeks after I finish Assassin's Creed Shadows or in 2 years after I'm going through my backlog. No, now, play now. I've tried my best. I've tried my best. As imperfect as I am, as small as my reach is, I've tried my best to communicate to you guys that this game is worth playing. Now, I think I've been blowing this entire audio out of proportion because I'm yelling into the microphone. I apologize for that, but please go ahead, play the game. You'll love it. I also will make a video, of course, about what has happened with Xbox, but I want this video to just be dedicated to Clair Obscur because it's worth it.